What's good? I'm Kinell and this is Sinister Cinema. Be sure to follow us up on the socials. That's Sinister_Cinema on your Twitter and Sinister.Cinema on your Insta. And you can also follow up my personal Twitter. That's @Kolak, @COLAK. Description's in the graph there. Give them a click, you know what's up. And before I get into this today, I have not slept well, man. I've been like up and down all night with nightmares as a result of a film that I watched yesterday, which is Sam Ashurst and Harley Dee's A Little More Flesh 2. I watched it last night as part of the Soho Horror Festival, and the shit has fucked me up, Mike. What you call it? I've been in a strange headspace since seeing them. It's been actual decades since I've had nightmares as a result of watching a film. And so I might not be at my most coherent today, but this is the best time to get out the emotions that are going through me right now as a result of the impact that this piece of cinema has had on me. So yeah, it's going to be one of them. Might meander a bit, but it is what it is. I feel this is the most important time to do it. Now, obviously, at the Soho Horror Festival yesterday, it was the premiere of this film, so a lot of people won't have seen it. And I'm probably going to get into some degree of spoilers in this because it's necessary to talk about it. So I'll just say up top that I rate this film 4 stars out of 5. Because I think it's a very good film. I think it's very much not for everyone, but you know, if you're into a certain type of film, you should watch it. So, and I think one thing I've really got to get up top there is Sam Ashurst in this plays Sam Ashurst, the director. And if you click off this video before I go any further watching it, I need to be very specific about the fact that the Sam Ashurst in this film is not the real Sam Ashurst. It is a fictionalized version of his character and quite an evil motherfucker. And to be honest, if I wasn't familiar with Sam Ashurst, like through like podcasts and things, and like he was at the Q&A yesterday, he was in the Zoom chat and everything, I'd probably be feeling a bit of a way about him right now. Because this film is terrifying, and he's playing a terrifying person in it. And this film's basically a 2-person collaboration with Harley Dee, so I've got to give her a hell of a lot of credit. So I'll just get that out the way. Like, I mean, I'm not really a critic who does reviews, cause this is just my channel where I just put up the cool shit that I like. Say, check this out. It's one of them ones there. I'm not a critic. I'm too thick. You know, if I see something I don't like, I either just turn it off or just like watch Scanners Free the Takeover straight afterwards. You know, if you want intelligent film criticism, then go and watch one of those YouTube guys that's got 1,000 flipping Funko Pops behind him and no neck. Or like one of those extremely online A24 type people that have got a Midsommar tattoo that they got to cover up their Harry Potter tattoo, like when it turned out J.K. Rowling was blaming trans people for the actions of the Khmer Rouge, because the guy who wrote the IT Crowd got called a prick on Twitter once, and all that kind of thing. I am not that review guy. I'm just talking about a film that had a very, very big impact on me, and I've got to kind of get into a lot of the context before I get into that. The first Little More Flesh is my favourite film by quite some margin that I have seen this year. It's fucking brilliant. That was also part of the Soho Horror Festival, and it came about around the time that, I was kind of between setups. So I wasn't really making videos around that time. I was, concentrating on the Don't Flop tournament and all that, like, and appearing in that. So I was writing for performance. I wasn't really reviewing films at the time. So I haven't got a video about it together yet. But I thought I would wait, since I knew this was coming, to talk about it. But I feel like I've got to get deep. I've got to get deep specifically into A Little More Flesh 2. As I say, This is the perspective of a thick bastard. If you want some intelligent psychoanalytical reading of both A Little More Flesh and A Little More Flesh 2, check out Mary Wile's channel. She knows about these kind of things. I don't. But yeah, A Little More Flesh basically concerns like a re-release of this film, which is like a Jess Franco, Jean Rollin kind of thing, with a director doing a commentary for it. And the director is played by Sam Ashurst. He is playing someone who isn't Sam Ashurst in that first one. And as it goes through, you basically realise that he's like, what should we call it? A bit of a fucking weirdo, and he's up to some wrong behaviour. He's like fucking treating the people around him in a terrible, manipulative manner, which he should not be doing. And it's all there, it sort of plays out. And like there is some kind of supernatural element that comes in towards the end of the film. I love that film in itself. The construction of the director's commentary in it, I mean, like, making this about myself, but it's my channel, so I'm going to do that, aren't I? It's like, the way that he used the commentary to provide escalation and drop in little details, and fucking things would get worse and worse with each word he seemed to utter. Like, that's a similar kind of writing technique to like things I've done it myself in battle rap, particularly my battle with Frankie Waps on Don't Flop, my third round in that, where I just stay on the like 5-syllable rhyme scheme for like 3 minutes, and everything's an escalation of the line that came before it rather than a punch or something. He kind of constructed the whole film like that. I understand like there was an initial version of the film that didn't have any kind of humour in it at all, and that must have been like very heavy going. But in this one, it had some great lines in it, like, yes, that was taking place during my cocaine phase, which is ongoing, and things like that. It was a brilliant piece of work. But A Little More Flesh 2 picks up with a Zoom call with Sam Ashurst playing Sam Ashurst. And quite frankly, because the real Sam Ashurst is such a nice guy and the Sam Ashurst pervading this, I'm going to be referring to him as Evil Sam throughout. Evil Sam contacting the main actress from A Little More Flesh, says he wants to make A Little More Flesh 2, and she's just like, nah, bruv, fuck off. Sort of sowing the seeds that the Evil Sam contains a lot of the character that he was portraying in A Little More Flesh, and we go from there. It starts off with him contacting the actress Harley Dee, and he says he wants to make this kind of like art film where she's to like send 10 minutes of footage of her doing her day-to-day thing, and it's going to be spliced up with some footage that this other guy's going to send. She's going to send 10 minutes footage a week, and he's going to cut it together and put together like a little narrative, and it's going to be a weird little art film like that, lockdown circumstances, them ones there. So, which is quite an interesting little setup, because that's the kind of setup that is actually, like, people have been making like lockdown films like that. So that very much roots it in reality. And the whole idea is that he's like he's going to edit the film together to put together a narrative. But Evil Sam has like very, very like sociopathic, narcissistic tendencies, and he's sort of putting together a narrative in his own head about real life. The footage that Harley is sending of her doing makeup, doing yoga poses, all this kind of thing, is actually like she's sending messages to him because he's got this very high opinion of himself, and he obviously fancies her, which is why he's involved, and he's got a lockdown with a bit of a contract and that. So he's interpreting things that way. And there's this other guy who's like apparently, I think they said something about him being a poet. And he's like also involved in this project. There's some split screen footage, edited together footage that he sent in. And like after a while, he hears the way he's talking about Harley. And he's like, nah mate, you're being a bit of a weirdo. And Jersey's out the project. But he's just getting himself clear, this poet guy. He's not really checking Evil Sam on his moves and that kind of thing. And then, as that goes on, he sort of confronts Harley with his feelings, and they are not reciprocated, because all in his fucking head. And this is where the fucking proper cunt behaviour starts coming out, where he's effectively got her locked in with a contract and sort of uses that as leverage to demand that she keeps sending him videos and increasingly trying to get her to force past her personal boundaries. It's very intrusive. And I was speaking about this last night, and there's a film called Sandman. It's like a stylized S&man, like S and man, Sandman, right? It's a documentary that I watched on Tubi. And this is where it all started getting like very real for me, because I am aware that on film sets and indeed all other forms of workplaces, there are people who will use positions of power to leverage as leverage to sort of violate boundaries and of like mainly women. It does occur elsewhere, but you know, obviously I'm not on film sets, right? And I'm a bloke, so I don't know about these things from my lived experience. So you know, it's like, you know, there was time, like, you know, when I was a bit more naive to these sort of things, where I think all it consists of is some multi-million-pound Harvey Weinstein telling actresses, "Give us a blazer and I'll give you this £1 million contract." But that's not what it is. That's not what the sexual harassment is. It's like, you know, obviously that exists at all stages of the industry, and indeed, as I say, outside the industry. And there's people moving, and there's all sorts of shadiness going on. And like, as I say, I don't know about these things from lived experience, so it's important for me to listen to people who do and learn about things that way, because, you know, you need to understand these things happen. So if you are ever in a situation when you can do something to intervene or prevent such things happening, then you know the signs. You know, even though I'm not likely to be on a film set, like if I saw this kind of behaviour anywhere else in the workplace, I need to know what to do, if you get me. And in this documentary, Sandman, well, I say documentary, it's about 2/3 documentary and 1/3 mockumentary, but Knobhead here thought it was 100% documentary, and it had me freaked out. It concerns like this documentary filmmaker who is looking into people who make these sort of extreme, low budget, like very voyeuristic sort of horror films. Like you've got your Fred Vogel, your Toe Tag production guys up in there, and there's some, and you've got Bill Zebub, who makes like your Jesus Christ serial rapist and all this kind of things, like very much like extreme kind of voyeurism. And they've also got this other filmmaker in it who isn't a real filmmaker, but I didn't know that until 2 weeks later. And he's on some weirdo moves, and that had me and when I was watching Sandman, that had me feeling a way about the guys who were making the documentary. Hey, Louis Through, put your shit down and deal with this guy. Stop, put the camera down. This guy over here needs checking. But they didn't, and stuff goes on. But there was enough in that documentary, like they had some footage of. They had some footage of, like, you know, behind the scenes at August Underground Mordom and that. There was enough about, like, real life filmmakers that I was familiar with to believe it was real. Really hooked me in there. And, like, yeah, like, one thing I found out about that kind of world of filmmaking is that there's also like people who pay for custom videos, like what the porn stars do, but it's just like women being really fucking uncomfortable and that. It's I don't know, it's some grim fetish shit that I was not aware of. And when we kind of move into this phase of a little more flesh too, I saw direct parallels with shit that I had seen in the documentary end of this, so this is something that I was aware of existed, which is why A Little More Flesh 2 was so real to me, because you know the phrase on Twitter, like 99% of Twitter is making up a guy in your head and then getting mad at that guy. Sam Ashurst has not made up a type of guy with Evil Sam. That is someone that type of person exists. That kind of filmmaking exists. And if someone who was not really familiar with what they were getting into were to get in there, they'd find themselves on the wrong side of their personal boundaries rapid. Like, it could be a serious thing, and like, there are actresses that specialise in that kind of stuff, but, you know, if that's what they're into and that's what they want to do, then more power to them for making a career in that way. But for someone who maybe doesn't understand that they need to establish these kind of boundaries because they haven't had the experience of having that shit pushed on them, then it's just nightmarish to think about, which is probably why I had actual fucking nightmares. And like, so like, the footage that the Evil Sam is asking the actress Harley to make is like, it lines up a lot with these custom videos that these these weird private fetish guys pay actresses to act out for them. It's very much a real world, but Harley Dee is not someone who is voluntarily trying to do this. She's been locked in by contracts, by manipulation, and by the narcissistic actions of this Evil Sam. So fuck it. I'm getting the piss shudders thinking about it. Jesus. I'm gonna drink me Barocca now. So yeah, you've got Escalation through that, and sorry, I'm just actually fucking shuddering just thinking about it through there. Because, like I say, Sam Ashurst has not made up a guy with Evil Sam. This is very much a real... This film came off as totally 100% real to me, which is why I say that I had to preface this whole thing by saying that Sam Ashurst is not Evil Sam. Because if I'd have seen A Little More Flesh 2 without that familiarity with Sam Ashurst, I'd probably be feeling like he was a bit of a nutter. Fucking, we'd probably have to have words if I ever saw him on road. But yeah, it's just effective filmmaking is what I'm saying. It's just very, very, very powerful, effective filmmaking. Anyway, as we go through, things escalate. She tries establishing boundaries, severing contact, and getting away from this. And I should add at one point, there's a very brief on-screen appearance of Human Centipede 2, Lawrence Harvey, like, pretty much being to play the guy from Human Centipede 2. And with that, like, Sam Ashurst is kind of shining a light on the viewer, and effectively, like, the kind of people that would be into this sort of shit, the discomfort of the actress for pleasure, and sort of shines a light on the audience, like, you know, is this you? Are you flipping the lad out? Are you the lad out of Human Centipede 2? Hopefully fucking not. But that's something that exists and shines a light on it there. But as Harley tries to break contact, and like, by the way, the custom videos she does were like entirely choreographed by her and entirely put together, and it's some of the most disturbing shit I've seen in my life. Like, not even from just the imagery of it, and the fact that it all goes on for so long with this fucking terrifying drone soundtrack. Like, it felt like it was going on for a lot longer than it fucking was. The work on her part is fucking incredible there, like, because like I say, most of this film is a two-person collaboration, so I've got to keep throwing out the props there. But yeah, things escalate, and when he's no longer able to get his way, that's when Evil Sam takes things and Harley's throat into his own hands with lethal consequences. And that's what happens, isn't it? When it's escalation. It's when things go unchecked. It's when people go unchecked. It's when people violate boundaries and continue to violate boundaries. When the boundaries are attempted to be enforced, they will always try and push that bit further, and it can so frequently lead to tragedy. Yeah. And so fucking legit haunted me in my fucking sleep last night. I legit had fucking nightmares worrying about Harley Dee, even though she appeared at the virtual Q&A afterwards and fucking spoke to everyone, and she was at the Zoom after party and she was really nice, and I know for a fact she was okay. In real life, I still had fucking nightmares about fucking things happening to her. So yeah, fucking I can't think of the last time a fucking film's had that kind of impact on me. I should add after that, there's appearance by the homie Lauren Ashley Carter, absolute legend, as another actress, and there's kind of an implication in that scene that she has more of an awareness of what kind of a cunt Evil Sam is, but that isn't pursued further. But there's the implication that Sam will continue with what he's done. Now he's got to that point, he will attempt to go there again. Again, the escalation and things going unchecked. You know, it's one of those, like, you know, you do wonder, like, flipping, if it could have gone on that longer, if fucking Poet Guy, instead just jerseying the fuck out of there, went round Evil Sam's house, gave him a bit of a slap. Fucking, you know, people rethink things, like, when that kind of thing happens. But yeah, there's that, the implication that A Little More Flesh 3 is going to involve Lauren Ashley Carter, and then it cuts to a Zoom conversation between Sam Ashurst and trauma legend Lloyd Kaufman. Kaufman. I don't know, man. I'm not good with Jewish names. Like, I'm not good with anyone's name. I'm a fucking idiot, and I haven't slapped. Sorry, Lloyd. You are a legend, and I love all you've done. And one thing that Lloyd did in real life is he put out A Little More Flesh, and you can check that out right now on the Trauma Now app that they got going on. You can get yourself a little free subscription there and like watch that, and maybe check yourself a bit of Sergeant Kabuki Man afterwards. Take the edge off. But yeah, and the sort of implication in this final scene is that Lloyd is going to manipulate Sam Ashurst in a similar kind of way to the way that he has been manipulating these actresses. And, you know, it sort of gives the whole sort of which gives the impression that, like, there will always be abuse within these power structures, and it will continue to go all the way to the top, and it feeds back down, and there needs to be some kind of intervention. But I will say the film kind of ends there, and it's kind of hard watching it end there. And this is the wildest sentence I will probably ever say on this channel, but my one bit of criticism is that I feel the ending could have been improved if Sam Ashurst sucked the donkey's dick on camera. Yeah, now simulated, obviously. I'm not saying he should suck a donkey dick. In fact, I don't want him to suck a donkey dick. Certainly not in real life. But that would have been the final kind of nail on it. But obviously, it is not easy to accurately simulate a donkey getting their dick sucked in lockdown circumstances, and you're probably going to be having a bit of ball ache with the censors. But you know, limits have been pushed, just as Evil Sam pushed the boundaries of Harley Dee, the actress in this film, and the people around him. And indeed, actual Sam Ashurst pushed our boundaries as viewers, got us to ask questions about ourselves for watching this kind of thing. A lot going on there. Jesus Christ, I've just been ranting about this film for a solid 25 minutes because that is how hard it's hit me. I think I'm going to have to chill the fuck out for the rest of the day. I might have to watch some fucking cartoons or something because I need to chill out because it has hit me hard. And like, whilst I might not be a film critic at all, or be able to lend in any kind of real insight, I just wanted to get across the impact that this film had on me, because it's a lot. To end on a positive note, what actually happened at the end of my night last night is about 1 o'clock. I jerseyed out at the Zoom after party, and I was going to bed, and I saw a badger outside from my bedroom window, and I tried to get a few photos of it, and I've never seen a badger in real life before, not in a zoo or on telly, like just going about his business, snuffling around with his little nose, and just like toddling around with this weird chunky little walk. Like, I've seen dead ones, but I haven't seen one just going about their business. And he was like sort of right under the street light on the opposite side of my road by the allotments, and I was legit just there trying to take photos of it, which didn't come out particularly good, but just fascinated by this badger. And honestly, I wish I had dreams about that badger rather than poor Harley Dee, who is sound in real life. But yeah, so I'll wrap this one up. I can't see this one. I can't see many people get into the end of this video, to be honest, and maybe when there's some kind of release information, which I hope is happening kind of soon for this film, because I do feel a lot of people should see it, and I hope they come back and maybe compare notes of how this film impacted them with how it impacted me. I'd like to hear about that. Definitely get in the comments, like, subscribe, all that kind of thing, and let me know about that, because you know, it's good to share these kind of things, but I've got to cut it off at the half-hour mark, because half-hour is bastard ages for an idiot like me to be talking. Yo, so be sure to follow us up on the socials. That is Sinister_Cinema on your Twitter and Sinister.Cinema on your Insta. My personal Twitter at COLAK. I'm Kinell. Safe.